All new at 6 o'clock. It took 22 minutes for paramedics to respond to a man in police custody struggling to breathe. That man, Javonte Williams, died hours later. This all happened in June of last year.
At the time, CMPD, Charlotte Fire, and Medic released little information about what had happened. WBTV's chief investigative reporter Nick Oxner went to court and pushed to get the body camera video released to the public.
And tonight, for the first time, we are getting a look at what happened in the minutes and hours leading up to Williams' death.
Featherstone Drive is a quiet street tucked away in a sleepy neighborhood in northeast Charlotte. That quiet was broken just before 2 in the morning on June 13th last year.
I heard somebody screaming, and then I heard shots outside.
This is what she heard. Those screams started a clock.
You can roll this way.
When officers arrive on Featherstone Drive at 2:01 a.m., they've been told a man was shooting and banging on a door. One officer gets his rifle and starts looking for the suspect. This is what happens when they find him. The man being handcuffed is Javonte Williams, 32 years old, son, father, a former Johnson C. Smith football player. Williams is on his stomach in what's known as the prone position for roughly 20 seconds while he's being handcuffed.
Cuffs off.
Then rolled on his side.
Yep. So we got one detained. Go ahead and roll medic, please.
That request to roll medic at 2:14 a.m. is a sign the scene is secure. Records show officers asked for medic to be on standby 2 minutes earlier.
When an officer radios to send medic,
yes,
what do they expect is going to happen?
The expectation is that the medic would be dispatched and sent to the scene.
Just make sure his airway is clear. We'll keep him in this position.
But that's not what happened in Javonte Williams' case.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah, moving back from the wall.
Oh. Leon, what are you doing? I can't breathe.
You can.
I can't breathe.
Firefighters arrive on the porch 10 minutes later. The video shows Williams still on the ground struggling to breathe while firefighters stand around. They check his stomach with flashlights. Never check for a pulse. Then, according to medic, they tell dispatch to send an ambulance non-emergency. At 2:29 a.m., firefighters are standing around. Officers are tired of waiting.
City needs a new contract for medic.
It's difficult. Every second counts. Every second is an eternity for the officers that are out there trying to get help for Mr. Williams.
CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings says his officers did everything right.
I think our officers acted appropriately and admirably. They were dealing with a criminal situation that they quickly identified as a medical situation. And then based on that, they did what they were supposed to do.
You as a law enforcement officer, you say the officers took in what was happening and reacted appropriately.
Yes, I do.
Mark Brown served as a police officer and now consults on police tactics.
I don't know if there was much more they could have done because they got him medical attention. They tried to keep him stable.
Medic arrives on the porch at 2:34 a.m., 22 minutes after the first call. 20 minutes after officers radioed the scene was secure. By the time they arrive, Williams is lethargic, laying almost still on the porch.
There is no explanation how my son died. They say that it's a medical problem.
But when Krista Williams watches the video of her son, she sees a different story.
By 2:35, my son was really dead. They say that he was still warm, but he was dead by then.
When we talked, it had been more than 7 months since her son died. She's still waiting for an answer on why it took so long for her son to get help.
My son is gone, and it's a tragedy. And it's awful how this had to happen to him.
Do you think the police officers who arrested your son, do you think they killed him?
It was no reason for them to hold him down that long. Why did y'all not take him to jail?
Records show he was treated by medics for 20 minutes on scene and rushed to the hospital at 2:54 a.m. When he arrived at the ER, he couldn't breathe on his own. His heart was racing. Doctors had a hard time getting blood pressure. He died hours later.
Anytime you have somebody that we're dealing with or in our custody or that we're out with, and you see somebody that's in medical distress and that person ends up passing away, of course it's devastating. You don't ever want that outcome with our profession.
Mr. Williams' mother told me on camera she blames police for her son's death. How do you respond to that?
You know, she's a parent. And if I'm a parent and my son or daughter is dealing with police or anyone, and as a result, the result ends up in death, then yeah, I mean, I can certainly understand the emotions that come into play and make a statement like that. But at the same time, I do think that we have to sit and pause a little bit until that medical examiner's report comes out, and let's see what the actual cause of death is. And if it's something that was done or not done at the time that we were encountered with Mr. Williams, then that's something we certainly want to look at.
Reporting in Charlotte, Nick Oxner, WBTV, on your side.
After more than a week of questions, Medic and the Charlotte Fire Department sent us a joint statement this afternoon saying for the first time that their response in this case will be formally reviewed. Charlotte Fire Chief Reginald Johnson saying in a statement, quote, "We take the death of Mr. Williams very seriously and are exploring thoroughly." And Medic Executive Director John Peterson saying, quote, "To the family and loved ones of Mr. Williams, we express our deepest condolences for your loss." WBTV's Chief Investigative Reporter Nick Oxner is asking more questions about that review process and is continuing to push for answers in this case.